Hello, so we're live. Hi, Jakub. How are you?
Hello. I'm doing fine, thanks. How about you?
I'm good. I'm currently in Warsaw, in WeWork. I hope nobody will join my podcast room. How do you feel about today's event?
How to describe that? I'm kind of excited because I think that most of people, maybe not most, but some people may not be familiar of the tools that are available on the market right now. And I'm happy that we will be able to show a teaser of the possibilities how to do something with our Next.js application outside of the Vercel. So yeah.
Okay, great. So we're going to start in a few seconds. Yeah, I see that we have some people joining. If you can tell us if you can hear us or see us, that would be very useful for me.
Here, yeah.
Okay, I don't see any comments from attendees. Yes.
Yeah, I see them on the in the tab.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's start. Hi, Cornel. Nice to see you. Great. So let's share the screen. Yes. So this is our third event. So welcome. We're very happy to see you, and we're happy to share of our experience. We are on the final event of our series about Vercel hosting costs. So we started with hosting cost analysis. So we were checking what impacts the cost. Then we were discussing how to optimize Vercel costs. And today we have our webinar about self-hosting. If you're on the first time on our events, please scan the code and register to the series. So you will get all of the resources and all of the recordings from previous events. Yeah, and who we are. So I'm Chris. I'm CEO of PagePro, and I'm here together with Jakub, and we both have strong developer experience because we were programmers, and yeah, we're happy to share our own experience, and I think this is something unique for this kind of events. And we're both from PagePro, and PagePro is working on Next.js and React projects for mid-sized companies. So most of our experience is based on a little bigger projects, projects where we are working as a team. So there are not hobby projects like one dev is handling everything, but we treat the project like something big and something that needs to live after our phase of development. So we're focusing on long-term projects and projects that needs to be maintained by a bigger team. And what do we have for today? We're starting with a question because this is third webinar, and we want to make sure that it's adjusted to your needs. So you sign up. So probably you're considering moving out from Vercel. So you're thinking about self-hosting. So why you're considering moving out of Vercel? I'm very curious. Of course, we did some research before, but yeah, I'm curious because we have some new people joining for the first time of our series. So yeah, please let me know in the comments why you're considering moving out of Vercel for your Next.js project.
And why are you, Chris, moving out of the next of Vercel?
Sorry?
what would be your reason of leaving the Vercel?
My reason?
Do you have any? Yeah, like when you would choose the self-hosting?
When? I think if we would have a different company policy, for example, we need to host everything on specific platform. But this is a pretty rare case for most of our clients. So I like Vercel. I like how easy it is to deploy the changes and work together as a team. Yeah, we had one comment, but unfortunately, I cannot see it right now. API routes. Yeah. Kuba, do you know why this might be a challenge?
By Kuba, you asked the person who asks the question, and me.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't really know why, because the API routes may be about some, it's not descriptive enough. I mean, is it cost with API routes, or they're slow, or what exactly?
Okay,
There's
so
like a lot of follow-up questions. So yeah.
Yeah, please feel free to add some additional comments, and we'll get back to it later.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we have for today, we are going to discuss the main challenges when you're leaving Vercel. Also, we will go to the solutions. We'll help you to develop a plan how to migrate. We also have our summary of our series, and also we have a bonus for you. So please wait till the end of the event. I'm sure it's worth to see it. And then we have our QA session. Okay, so challenges when leaving Vercel. So when you're leaving Vercel, you must remember that you're probably going to miss some of the cool features. And I'm starting with developer experience, because on Vercel, it's very easy to do the deployments, CI/CDs out of the box. You also have some real-time collaboration features. I like them, and it's a bit hard to replicate these kind of features on your self-hosting environment. Also, Vercel and Next.js are doing everything to make the application performant. So you have CDN, you have image optimization, you have edge network, and also you have automatic HTTPS and SSL management. Of course, you can do those stuff outside of the Vercel, but you need to manage it. The next very important point is framework support. So, as you know, Vercel is actively supporting Next.js. So all of the new features are released for Next.js open source project, and also with the support on Vercel. So this, native Next.js integration is something that is very, very hard to replicate. What else? Infrastructure management. So you can build your infrastructure on somewhere else, but it's a bit harder to manage it. So in Vercel, you have very nice dashboard, and it's very easy to access all of the configurations that you need. Add-ons and integrations. So some of the add-ons are something that you need to buy to use, but they are very useful, especially add-ons around performance and analytics. Also, you have a bunch of integrations like Slack, Sentry, Datadog, and also you have security features that you need to manage by yourself if you are moving out of Vercel. Jakub, if you would need to migrate out of Next.js for your current projects that you're working on, what would we be missing the most?
Probably the great user experience for developers. Like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with AWS dashboard, but in AWS, you need to first find a specific service that you want to check. Then you need to find a specific tab that you need to look for. And it's a very frustrating for new users. If you get familiar with that, probably it's more intuitive. But in Vercel, you have everything in one dashboard and easily accessible. And also the inputs are very basic, very simple. And there's not so many options that are overwhelming you when you see the dashboard. Yeah, probably that. Okay. And the speed of setting up from zero to almost production ready environment.
Yes, go to market. Yeah, it's very quick.
Yeah.
Great. So now let's talk about choosing the right option. And Jakub, this is your part.
Yeah. So if you are considering moving out of Vercel, you need to consider a few factors that may impact your plans, billings, and costs that will be the effect of migration. First of them is like tech environment. So you need to check, you need to consider if you have anything else hosted on, for example, on Azure, on Google Cloud, on AWS, if you have any knowledge about the services that you need. Do you need to gather this knowledge? And gathering knowledge is also costly. So you need to invest to be able to even start migration. You need to consider DevOps support, because if you don't have any DevOps knowledge or any infrastructure knowledge at all, probably it will be very hard process. Probably you will have a lot of failures on your way and a lot of issues that may be very hard to find answers to. And even creating the correct question will be problematic. So you need to definitely consider the DevOps part. In Vercel, you don't really rely on that. Like Vercel is your DevOps. Here you will be your own DevOps, or you need some dedicated team for more complex infrastructure setups. And also the traffic, as traffic is the most cost impactful thing. So if you have a high traffic, you need to consider if you want to build containers, if you want to go serverless, you need to think about performance, etc. So yeah, those three factors are something that you should start from. Probably there's a lot more factors than those, but yeah, those three are the most like.
Yes, Jakub. Yeah, so in most of the cases, when a client is telling us, okay, let's switch to AWS, that means that the client already have some other applications on AWS, already have DevOps team, and in many cases he has some free credits on AWS to use. So cost considerations is something very important here. And yeah, check if you have some credits. Maybe it's worth. Of course, you need to estimate all of the features that we presented on the previous start. And maybe the last thing here, when you're considering the migration, please check if you can do that in several steps. So maybe you don't need to move whole application at once. Maybe you can separate some areas to migrate earlier, and then go progressively with the rest of applications. So this is good practice that we are following on many projects.
Yep. Exactly. And you mentioned about the free credits, but those free credits are great for the future hosting cost, but you still need to invest in the initial step for like some amount of hours that you need to spend to initialize your project or migrate your project. So yeah, those credits are great, but you still need to spend money initially. Yeah. So if you consider those factors and you consider migrating out of Vercel, what options do you have? One of the options is the simple VPS or dedicated server. The like deployment process for those two platforms, for those two options is very similar. It's just the cost and the background that is different. So yeah, definitely you need to consider if you want to go for VPS or dedicated server. The other option is the cloud, where you have more choice like AWS, the Azure, the Google Cloud Platform, or Cloudflare. And probably AWS, Azure are the more common ones. The Google Cloud Platform and Cloudflare are some far behind, but they're still viable for you, maybe, if you know the services there and you have some knowledge in the background. So probably you should choose the one which you are familiar with, or your company is like strict to. And the other option is other platforms, which is the Amplify or Netlify. They are similar to Vercel. They also don't need to worry about the infrastructure because it's like a black box. You don't need to know what's behind. You just need to fulfill some forms, connect GitHub repository, and it works out of the box. So probably it's not the best choice because it's just changed of the provider. Probably you'll finally met the same issues that you have with Vercel. So probably the VPS dedicated server or cloud should be your choice. Okay, so if we know our possible solutions, we need to start thinking about how we can set up our project or our infrastructure to be able to migrate. So as we are very short on time today, I won't present you all of the guidance to VPS and for the cloud. I will focus on cloud and specifically AWS. And for the VPS, I just prepared a very short step-by-step guide, which is like you need to purchase a VPS or dedicated server. You need to somehow push your application to the VPS, either with Git or with FTP or whatever choice you will use. I mean, I prefer to use it with Git so you can easily sync those changes, but it's up to you. Then you need to set up some tools that will run your application in the background. So you need to build your application, run your application, then it works on your VPS. But you need a specific tool. So if you leave your VPS from in the shell, in the SSH, or how you connect to it, the process is still working in the background. So you need some kind of tool for that. And also you need a script that if your VPS will shut down, you need to do some automatic startups. There's a great guide from Lee Robinson. He is one of the Vercel staff. So it's very detailed and very easy to follow. So I recommend you just going there and seeing this video. It's really great. So yeah, I will just wait a few seconds until you can scan this QR code. And in the meantime, maybe Chris, you want to add something?
As I remember, there's also very useful guide in Next.js documentation about this topic. So yeah, you can check it as well. Okay, I will move on. So yeah, let's focus on how to push our Next.js application to AWS. My preferred way is if you have access to DevOps, probably you need to consult everything with them, and they will guide you on what output you need to create and what things you need to do so they can prepare the infrastructure and push those changes, push those functions of your code base and everything you work on to the cloud. But if you don't, the best way to start is with infrastructure as a code solutions like SST or Terraform. I will show you the SSTs
SSD way in this webinar, and SST is using the OpenNext in the background. So OpenNext helps with creating the correct output that we can push to specific services in AWS. But yeah, if you're interested with that, just go to OpenNext documentation, read what they are doing. It's an open source project where maybe you will be able to help. That would be great. And SST, also I recommend you to go for a documentation page and see what they are able to do, and if they match your criteria, if they support all of your services that you're using, and then just follow with my guide. Okay, let me change the screen of the presentation. Touch screen. Okay, please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm using the SST as my preferred way. And to set up your project, if you go to SST documentation page, you just need to run a command called SST init. I already done that because I don't want to waste time on fetching libraries here and waiting for my commands to execute as it's live. So I won't trigger this function, but if you will run this command, it will create you it will install the recommended packages, and also which you can see, sorry about the screen, it will install the SST, and also it will create the configuration file. The configuration file will be empty or will just have this default configuration where you can just specify the providers you will use. As I mentioned, we will use AWS, so there's nothing really hard that you should be worried about in the initial step. But the first thing that you need to do is to create your the service for your Next.js application. And my recommendation is to go, as Chris mentioned, with the small steps, baby steps. So don't try to migrate everything at once. Just try to do it step by step. And you have two options here, going either from the like try to migrating small functionalities first and your Next.js application at the end, or try to migrate your Next.js application first and then attach all of the missing functionalities later. So it's up to you which step you will use.
Which one?
In my scenario, I'm using the Next.js and then following with extra services, because I want to make sure that my Next.js application is working. I need to check if if all of core functionality is working, like middlewares, SSG, SSR rendering, API routes, etc. And then I can follow up with other functionalities. In this example, I've already fulfilled this config, so I'm not doing live coding, so I won't do any typos, etc. But you need to specify where your application, where is the source of your application, the name of the application, which will be used later in the AWS dashboard and as a service name. And as you can see, it's just calling the in the configuration file, you have the function that runs your code, and there you specify all of the services that you need. As I mentioned, I start from the Next.js, where you specify your application. Probably at the initial phase, you will have no links. So it will be just the Next.js application. You specify the path, you expose the environment variables, and for the first deployment, that should be all that you need to do. And you should just call the SST, sorry, NPX, because I'm not using this internally. npx SST dev, and it should create you a dev environment, but this process will deploy the dev environment into the cloud. So you have the one-to-one services that works on AWS, but they are like within your local host environment. So as you can see, I've made some changes. So it's updating my deployment, and as you can see, it's creating a new bucket. It's updating some Lambda function, and it's deleting. So it's created and deleted because it's seen that I'm not using it because it was linked into my app, but it didn't found any linked services, so it's being cleaned up. If you run the dev environment here, you have access to 3 options here on the left. First one is the SST, which is the output of this deployment process to of your services. You will see a list of all of the services that will be created, updated, deleted, etc. in the AWS, and you will see the name of those services and what kind of service it is. Then you have the functions. As you can see, it's showing an error right now. But I won't investigate it why. You need to trust me that it was working before. As you can see, the cron job was triggered. And the third one is your output of your application. Probably because I zoomed in or zoom out, there is no content here, but it should be something similar to. Give me a second. It should work at this URL. As always, live demos are great. Let me restart it. Just give me a second. I've made some changes in the configuration. Maybe that's the issue. So yeah. Yeah, so your application should run at this port. I'm not sure why it's not working at this moment. Even with those errors here, it was working before. Mm-hmm. So I will not try to debug that and waste some time. I will try to share the knowledge. So yeah, you will see the logs like in your Node.js application. Like if you just run the npm dev in the Node in the Next.js application, so you'll see the all of the requests that comes to your Next.js application, and they will be visible here, and you will see the console messages, etc. Like your normal dev environment. Okay, so this is the basic configuration. So the basic configuration, as I mentioned, was without those services. But if you are, if you have those Next.js, if you have this Next.js application, you provide the name, etc., set up the basic configuration. You probably need to extend your configuration with some extra services. And to create those extra services, you just need to create specific instances of those services you need. For example, in this scenario, I need a key value database to keep user IDs and event IDs and trigger some actions based on that. I use DynamoDB for that, and I call it webinar table. And this is the basic configuration for that. I also set up the bucket, but I didn't actually use it in my application. And when I create those services, I just need to link them to my web application so I can get access to them from the application. And also I've created a cron job that executes my function once per minute, and I need to link my site because I need to get the URL of my deployment. And yeah, so I'm not sure how to show it, but in general, this configuration seems very easy, and it really is easy. And seems that you don't really need a DevOps to be able to set those things up. The only knowledge that you need is the names of the services that you need to set up and basic configuration of them. Okay, let's go to, I will show you some code. So as I mentioned, I set up the cron job, which is calling my function, and my function is just calling an API route of my Next.js application. So to get access to URL, you need to, all of your resources that are in the configuration file declared here under those names are available in the code if you use the resource from SST library, and you can get access to the configuration, not the configuration, but to some specific fields like the URL. As the URL changes on every deployment, we can't hard code it, and we don't want to use environment variables, so we can get access to it through this exposed function, to exposed object. And yeah, I'm just using this, and it's just calling my API, the endpoint called cron test, and it's not doing everything. It's just to show you that all of the core functionality is working, but as we have some issue here on the build, I probably won't be able to show you this at this moment. You need to trust me that it was working like 5 minutes ago, but it's the magic of live demos. Mm-hmm. Okay, and in my Next.js application, I'm not doing any extra code to make this work. The only thing that may interest you is this OpenNext output. So I mentioned that SST is using OpenNext under the hood, and it's just generating the output within this folder. So probably you need to add it to gitignore. And based on this directory, the specific chunk of our functionality is deployed to specific services. So as you see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 services that were deployed to somewhere on our cloud. We also have assets, we also have the build and the cache. So all of those things are distributed across our AWS account. Okay, and just to show you that all of the basic functionality works, because they keep maybe not so often, but I still see some opinions on the web that some functionalities are not working correctly if they are outside of Vercel, like middlewares, like API routes, like revalidation or server-side rendering, etc. So I prepared a very short and very simple basic demo to show you that all of those basic functionality works. So yeah, this is my website. As you can see, it's deployed to CloudFront, and we have a unique URL. Before I show you the demo, I just want to show you that in the AWS, all of my things that were deployed are accessible from AWS dashboard. So you can get, for this example, it's distributed to CloudFront, and when you go to specific distribution, you can copy the URL, and you see that it's matching this URL that I'm presenting you. So just to prove that I'm not, that it's not a different application. So this application contains very basic functionality like middleware. As you can see, it's blocked by middleware. So this is a demo of middleware functionality, which I will show you the code, which is not doing too much. It's just testing if my path name starts with middleware. If not starts with middleware, then it's proceeded without any extra actions. And if it starts with middleware, we are redirecting to forbidden URL. And in my application, probably, I'm not sure if you will be able to see it, but on the bottom left corner, you can see that it redirects me to middleware page, but if I click on it, I'm redirected to forbidden. So that's the proof that middlewares are working correctly on AWS without any extra effort from us. The same thing for SSR, SSG, and revalidation. So I've created a simple demo where I have some data in CMS, which I will update in a moment. But as you can see, this website is generated on the server. So I will see the latest output here when I update the data. For SSG, we see that our content will be static for all of the build duration until I revalidate this page. And we have the revalidate on time. So this page will be updated every 2 minutes. So let's go to CMS and I will update my post. So this is my post. Test you updated on the webinar live. So if I update that, I publish that, and we should see the output that when we are on the SSR, we will get the latest. Okay, sorry about that. Probably, yeah. I've changed this lag too. So give me a second. Test 2, it should be test.
I see that your URL is dynamic on the page here.
No, on my application, I hard code this URL and it's using the test, but I was working in the background that I've changed this flag too. So it's fetching the page that is called on the test, but as you can see, every refresh was giving me the fresh response. Mm-hmm. So it's like a proof that SSR is working correctly. And as I'm updated the test to updated on webinar live, it should be also, I mean, it won't be updated on the SSG, and that's the proof of this functionality. So it's cached across the build within the build. So I need to call revalidate or generate a new build. And for the revalidation, I've hit this page. So I hope I've reached this 2-minute time, and if I refresh it multiple times, eventually it will display the latest content. So I don't want to keep refreshing that, so maybe I will just move forward.
Jakub, can you tell me, because you're using Sanity here, is it hard to set up a preview using SST and OpenNext? How to do that?
The preview for Sanity?
Yes.
It actually doesn't matter where you are hosting that, because it's just the preview of Sanity is working on the client side mostly. Mm-hmm. So it works like these single page applications or something like that, where you have the all of your functionality wrapped on a single route, and it's just executing on the client side. So yeah, it's very simple. You just need to embed it on the cloud or create a new application or something like that. So it's very simple. Okay. And back to my page, as you see, it's being updated. Yes. So all of these basic functionalities seems to be working without any extra effort on the AWS like fresh deployment. I've spent like maybe half an hour to be able to deploy that. I've also created some API routes. I'm not sure if you can see my screen now. It should be the Postman.
Yes.
So yeah, I've created, I won't show it because I didn't deploy that on my dev environment. It stopped working. But yeah, it was working fine before. So let's do a quick update. So basically, this cron job was working. It was triggering my API route. My API route was just displaying the data from the database, and I also create an API route that was able to fulfill this database. So I was just creating a demo of DynamoDB and cron functionality, but as you saw, it's failing the dev environment. But let's try if it will work with deploy. So to deploy your application to cloud, you just need to call the deploy command. You can add some extra configuration here, like which environment you want to deploy to, etc. But as you can see, it's just generating the output for the Next.js application. This output is generated specifically with OpenNext, so it's split into smaller directories, and it's created so we can distribute it to those specific functionalities. But yeah, I've got some error in the code and it stopped working. But do I have a screenshot that I can show you? I have, but let me quickly see. So I prepared some screenshots. Yeah, so it should look like this. I think that I assumed that we may have some issues during our live stream, and I've prepared some screenshots of the output. So you should be able to see like the default output of the Next.js application. So it's similar to the ones that you have, the OpenNext build output, which is here. So it's just a summary of what was created. And then you, this one is the last one. Then you will see all of the services that were created, and they will take some time on the first time. And you see that all of the names, all of the service names, and what service was used, and how much time it takes. And if it proceeds like with successfully, you will see this step, which is the information that the build is completed, and you have the URL to your website. So in general, that's the basic configuration. Probably you want to add some CI/CD. Probably you need to use the GitHub Actions or something like that that will automatically build your application on code changes. Add a comment with URL to your application, so you will have some functionality like in Vercel preview environments. You need to somehow manage the environment variables too, so they are different for different environments. Probably you need some domains attachment. You can use the AWS Route 53 service. So yeah, there's a lot of options from this moment, like from this basic configuration to move to and to enhance your future outputs. But in general, it's very simple, and it should be as simple as setting up this SST config file. The issues that you may have during this process is like some incorrect values here, or the documentation is not as good as the one from Next.js or from Vercel, where you have very descriptive documentation with good examples of how to use specific things. It's very
rough.
We're
speaking about documentation of SST or Next.js?
Yeah, the SST. So definitely you will need to know the services that you need to use. You will have hard time debugging things in this process, probably, as those errors are not something like undefined variable or some issues with your code that crashes during the runtime. Those issues are more complex, very often related to specific services or some configuration. And also in this example too, In the documentation, for example, for those cron jobs, there is only, if you don't dig enough, you will see only that you can pass the function directory. And if you want to, for example, link those application with my site so I can get the URL, I need to do some more digging. So you need to investigate the types, investigate the how this function works, and probably find the ways of configuration how you can do that, with digging into the types or into functionality, or finding some extra links in the documentation, you can specify the string or this specific type or this specific type, and you need to click through the documentation with various places. So it's not in the one place with all of the configuration, but you need to jump from one place to another. And the first one is that you need the AWS account. So if you create those services, there is also a possibility that you will misconfigure something like cron job that will be triggered every minute. And for example, my handler will be incorrectly implemented, and it will be infinity function which executes until it timeout, and then there's a possibility that you will create some cost that you shouldn't. So you need to be more careful with that. And yeah, I think that's all from this demo. I hope I won't I won't make the inception. But yeah, and let's go back to the presentation. Sorry, I took a lot of time, but there's a lot of topics that we want to cover and a very limited time.
No problem.
So yeah, basically you just need, there are tools that helps you with deploying your Next.js application to AWS or other providers. SST doesn't have support to all of them. It has some support to AWS. It has some support to Cloudflare. I'm not sure about Azure. So probably you need to wait until they add the extra functionality. They extend the providers list.
Okay.
Yeah. So to sum up, how to migrate your application. First of all, you need to investigate your current functionality, find the replacement, find the services that you need to use, and do you really need to migrate them? For example, on Vercel, you have the edge network by default. Maybe you don't really need that because your application is on localized to a single country or something like that. So you may be enough with setting up a single region app. You need to get familiar with basic AWS services or other cloud provider that you are going to use, even if you are not going to implement them directly in this configuration. You still need to read the OpenNext documentation. They have a very nice chart how this output, how those functions works together. You also need to consider if you're going with containers or serverless, as containerization requires a little bit more effort and more knowledge for sure, because you need to know how those containers works, how to scale them, how to choose specific CPU, etc. resources versus cloud. And the cloud is more like a scaling up and down solution for you. And of course, start with bare minimum. So don't try to migrate everything at once. Start with bare minimum, like the Next.js application deployment, like I showed you on today's demo with your application. Then try to migrate the missing parts. And if all of your functionality will work, then try to maybe do some A/B testing with redirecting part of your traffic to AWS and see if they don't have any issues with using your application or something like that. Don't do all-in migration. That probably will be the painful step. And if you do your migration, analyze the new usage and costs and see if they are matching your assumptions, if you didn't do any incorrect configuration there, and try to adapt and update your configuration there, remove the services that you are not using, and just try to adapting your services to your needs. And when you should use DevOps, first of all, if you don't know what you are doing and you are just following the instructions without any knowledge, probably the better option will be to use some DevOps or some consulting with DevOps. If you are small to mid project, like hobby projects, personal projects, the apps that have low traffic, probably you will be fine with doing that solo. In mid to big projects, like the ones that are have like 5 to 20K of active users daily, it's 50-50. You may be able to do it by yourself. You may need some consultations with DevOps. But probably it's good to have the possibility to consult, to plan the DevOps resources. So you will be able to contact them and do some consulting with them, just in case. And for enterprise projects, probably you will need a DevOps because the infrastructure there is more complex and probably needs very advanced knowledge about all of the services, and the things that I presented to you probably won't be enough to set up the good infrastructure. Okay, Chris, maybe you have anything to add?
Maybe just one thing, that if you're having enterprise project, you probably already have the DevOps team, so maybe this is not an issue then. Yeah. Thank you, Jakub, for the demo. We trust you that it was working.
Sorry for the issues. Yeah.
No worries. Okay, so we are near in end of our series, and I also told you that we have a small bonus for you. So I just want to remind you that we started our series by a research. So we checked a list of pain points that community have around Next.js, and we saw a lot of problems with hosting and costs of hosting Next.js applications. So based on this research, we created our series. So the first one was about analysis. The second one was about optimizing Vercel cost, and now we have the third one. And based on all of the learnings that we had on our research, because we also were sending some bunch of emails, and we had a lot of calls and discussions, people were telling us that they can do some more optimization on Vercel. And this is a very smart move, because you can update your code, you can make your application more performant and more future-proof. So we saw that those code optimizations and also optimizations on Vercel platform are the most common use case and most common fix of the problems, because you can move out of the Vercel, but if you have buggy application or not performed application, you might have the same problems after migration. So based on this feedback, we created a guide. Of course, some of the contents of this guide you already had on our webinars, but we are going to send you a very nice PDF with everything explained. So you can just grab this guide and do the optimization by yourself. So thanks to this guide, you can make your application working better, faster, and cheaper. I think this is a pretty good deal. So you can sign up. If you already are on our list, you're going to receive the guide. If not, please scan the QR code and get it. Yeah, so this is the first part of the bonus, and the second part of the bonus is that we can do it for you. So you can get the guide, get yourself to work and optimize your cost, or you can talk with us, and Jakub is going to personally do the optimization. Jakub is just a one person, so he can do just two optimizations per month, and yeah, based on our experience, you can easily save up to 20% of the hosting cost. Of course, this depends on your application. Our sweet spot, how we see, is when you're paying more than $1,500 per month on Vercel, you have some options to optimize, and 20% for a very big project can be very interesting thing to optimize. So you can do that by yourself, or you can do that with us. And here is another QR code. If you want to do that, we have 2 slots for April. Okay, and that's it. We have still 4 minutes. So looks like Jakub, your error was planned because we are exactly on time. Yeah. Do you have any questions?
No, it wasn't.
Kuba, main reason leaving Vercel in favor of AWS was multiple cold start issues with my project. So no more an issue with AWS, but I still want to build my own server. That's I'm here. So
it's I don't think it's a question. It's more like a sentence. That the reason why someone's here.
This was a follow-up for the initial comment on the beginning.
Yeah, thank you, Kuba, for your feedback.
What's the most common mistake when you see someone make when migrating?
So I don't see too many people migrating, but when I was migrating, and the issues that I have with migrating is the issue with trying to do everything at once, and it's very overwhelming, and probably you will fail, or it will take more time than it should because you will work on multiple fixes at once. That's why I suggested to start with bare minimum because it will motivate you to further work.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question.
Okay, Bart, how can I tell if self-hosting will be better for me than staying on Vercel?
Yeah, it's a hard question. You can use our cost calculation from the first series, and that may help you with estimating the costs. And if you are planning to do it by yourself, the initial question is, are you okay with getting new knowledge that will be required here? Because you need to acquire a lot of AWS, maybe not a lot, but at least basics of AWS knowledge. And there is this process is painful, let's say. As I mentioned, there will be a lot of issues during this process where you won't find answer to because the community is not so big yet.
Yeah. I think in many cases, your CTO will tell you that you're paying too much for Vercel and they need to double check if that's fine, or your CFO. So yeah, then you can have a clear signal. Okay, so we have 30 seconds left. So yeah, I want to thank you of you for joining our webinar today and also helping us to create the whole series of the events. I hope it was useful for you, and yeah, please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel and our X profiles and LinkedIn, because we want to share more knowledge. And yeah, if you like it, just add like button, and yeah, see you next time. Thank you, Jakub.
Yeah, thank you, and sorry for the for the console errors.
No problem. Thanks. Bye bye.
Thanks all. Bye.